Make sure that the shuckster is in the right spot. Hmm. I'm gonna have to check the birthday on this machine so that I can flush the coolant out.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Mic check.
Ryan check. 1, 2. Ryan check.
And on the cool check in. Center stage on the mic. We're putting it on blast. It's the new style.
We're good.
Yeah.
I think we're good. I quintuple checked my mics. We
Yeah,
should be good.
check your Zencaster mic.
Yep. Should be good. I passed it. Yep. Mm-hmm. What rank have you gotten to, Chad, on that on the Zer?
Zer, almost 9.
Yeah. I see you share that rate of post. What takes 69 total?
Yeah,
Get the
but
catalog.
remember that's if you literally sit in there and play it straight, because it has the same mechanic as Gambit Strikes and Crucible, where if you get up to a streak, you just stay there.
Oh, okay.
And then apparently the legend and the normal have the same output of points, so it doesn't matter either way. So basically, you just do the legend to get the bounty done. Um, any bounty's done easily because you can easily get over 180k in points,
Yeah.
and then you go back to the normal and just sit in there and cruise. Sit there, watch some YouTube, put some Netflix on, put on some Conqueror's Corner and listen to the boys. You know,
Yeah.
that's it. So I mean that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna basically do the 3 daily bounties on every character every day because that's 9. That's 9 already right there.
But
So I'm
that doesn't rank him up though, does it?
no, but it gives you strange coins, and then it gives you a chance at the treasure keys, like a high. It gives you have a chance of getting another treasure key. And the treasure keys are what you're going to use to get the Zur Pebble ship, and then all the ornaments and stuff. So it's like you're already in there. Might as well just grab the bounties. The bounties are easy to do, and then you can work on catalysts in the second area for heavies and stuff.
Yep. I got my G horn finished up, and I've been
Yeah, it
working
only
on
takes like 3 of those, and you're done.
Deathbringer.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be a good one too. Yeah.
Are we ready to get the party started?
Yep.
Show for show.
Getting that for show.
A breeze? Let's take another swig of this. G Fuel, not a sponsor.
No free ads.
Hey man, they can pay us. I'm more than happy for them to pay us. I buy enough of their product, they should pay me a little bit. Give me that penny on the dollar.
How much is for an armor set in the Eververse. It's is it 1,500 silver or is it 1,000 silver?
Yeah.
It's probably 15.
15.
I haven't looked.
Okay.
Honestly, it's
I don't think
strangely
there's
enough,
anything in there.
there's
No,
very
I'm
little
talking
stuff
about-
in the Eververse.
Talk about in general. If it's like one comes out
15.
for the
15.
season. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. 300 per piece, and it drops by a discount of 300 for every piece you've already unlocked.
Okay. If you look at it like
And then
that,
weapons are usually 700, the exotic ornaments.
yeah, yeah. So you look at that silver alone, like the 30th pack is like
Because the Dares of Eternity, you can get 3 sets.
it's like
Or
100.
yeah,
it's
one
like,
set for each. And then you get the free pack of ornaments for the casual stuff for each.
so it's over $100
So that's
worth
yeah.
of Eververse stuff.
Yeah, that's 9, that's 3, 6, that's 6 sets of Eververse ornaments. Or just ornaments. So 1,500 each times 6, yeah. So it's a good money that they just gave out. And then a bunch of weapons, which are free again. You don't have to, the only thing that's paid is Jewhorn in the dungeon. And I guess the Artifice armor, which we'll talk about later.
All right. Jared, are you ready for me to play the music and all that stuff?
Yeah, I'll watch you hit the live button.
Chad, you good?
That means yes in Cali.
Oh, I don't have that screen pulled up. I just hear you.
Oh, then yes.
We are live for episode 38 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Thursday, December 9th, and I am a laryngitist, not Ryan Fox, here with my fire team, Jared.
Man, there's just so much loot, so much great armor ornaments unlocked this week. I'm a happy Destiny player.
And the chronicler himself, Chad Ocero.
There's a good bit of pirate lore, which I'm sure I'll talk about a little bit later. But I'm definitely happy to get in there and get into a new dungeon and get all that stuff memorized for the solo flawless attempts later.
Don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell, turn on notifications, yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Jared, let's get into it, man.
All right, not much going on in the 12 this week. Basically just showing off what's going on in their 30th anniversary. And, there's a lot of hype. Everybody's waiting for this event to happen. And we was kind of expecting a trailer last week, and we didn't get one. So they dropped it just hours before the content was released on Tuesday. And it showed off some surprises in the trailer and a lot of cool stuff. And we'll go ahead and get right into it. So, first thing that as you load in on Tuesday, you go straight into the Days of Eternity, and Xur and his trusty steed, the Star Horse, take you through Days of Eternity, and almost as like a Xur game show of taking out ads, spinning the wheel to see who you're playing against next. Little treasures along the way to give yourself like an advantage in the next round, like you win a round of Chopped going into the next round. You get like a minute head start or something like that. So that 6-man encounter. How did you all like getting loaded in directly and just diving straight into it?
I mean, I didn't expect it at all. Tuesday was happening, all that stuff was going on, and I was at work. So obviously I pulled up Game Pass, pulled out my phone, connected my controller and loaded in just so I could look at the ornaments and stuff, so that I didn't waste that time when we got into actually playing. When I got home, I could just get in and start playing. But that didn't happen. I had to play on company Wi-Fi on my phone. It was not fun, but it was definitely a fun experience. And I was like, I'm really excited to actually play this and actually play it because I was doing a lot of hiding, so I didn't have to shoot at anything. Um, and that's about it. I mean, as soon as we were done, I was looking at the Eververse, but I wish I was on my computer when that happened.
So I I don't think I've shared this with you guys, but I've been having a little bit of issues with Destiny performance, like the last 2 weeks, getting like low frame rates and things. And I finally figured out the issue. If anybody's having trouble with stutters or anything, uh, just send me a message on Twitter, and I'll help you out, and I'll let you know what worked for me. There's a lot of stuff over on the Destiny tech support subreddit. That's a really good one if you're ever having issues. So whenever it loaded in, it went black screen and it was spinning, and I didn't know there was like a 5 second pause before Xur started talking. So I thought I was having like technical issues, and I got really, really, really mad. And then all of a sudden, I land in like the Dares of Eternity. I was playing with like Xbox. They must have been on a regular Xbox One, because good God, it took forever to load in. And but yeah, I got in there, started shooting, had really no idea, kind of didn't realize it was going to be like such like so satirical. Xur's always been kind of like a serious, like mysterious guy, and now he's making ghost about or making jokes about spaying and neutering your ghost.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. I liked it. I've ran it probably. I think I've got 19 boss kills, and yeah, I probably have. I think one reset's going to be plenty of that for me if I had to guess.
Yeah, getting to finish at rank 16 for Xur. I think it gets you everything unlocked, and then hopefully you have enough keys at that point to unlock all the ornament chests and the ghost chests and everything like that. So, speaking of grinding out that playlist, first thing you had to do is get a bounty from the store horse, and you needed to do 3 of them, but you can only do 1 of them at a time to get it started on the Forerunner, to unlock it, which that is the exotic sidearm. I don't think we're going to spoil what the quest entails you to go do, but as Bungie fans of going on about 20 years now, it was great. So definitely, if you haven't got the time to go do that yet, definitely do that, and make sure you have the sound on, you're paying attention to what's going on, and you're going to have a lot of fun. We talk about the performance of that pistol. It's pretty spot on to the Halo Combat Evolved pistol, and it's a 200 round RPM sidearm. And my history with sidearms, but this one takes special ammo, and I'm a fan. It's pretty fun to play with.
It is a fun one to play with. It is very reminiscent of the gun that they made it seem. And after playing Halo Infinite when it came out for the multiplayer, like I'm very happy that we have Bungie. It's because playing with that hand cannon, that sidearm, feels good. It feels good, whether or not it is a good gun. But it is neat that since it's special, they had to give it a light, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they made it green. So the Chief's color is green, like his main color is green. So like the light on the sidearm is green, and I think that's probably um, the only special sidearm they're gonna make. Kind of like Ariana's is the only special hand cannon at the moment. But I like that. I like that they picked that color specifically for that.
Yeah, that I really enjoyed. Um, the end of that quest, like the last thing you pick up, and then the very last step, who you go and speak to, and the conversation that they have there. There's some really cool stuff in there. Like you said, we don't want to spoil anything though.
Yeah. So Bungie did give everybody a sidearm scavenger and sidearm reserves automatically work on it with a new perk. Everybody got that in their inventory to equip. And of course, hunters had the trick sleeves that got disabled. It kind of gave this weapon infinite ammo. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on in a couple of days. I'm sure they'll get those fixed as soon as they can to let you just do some builds with this sidearm. And it's really tearing up the PvP world right now. Everybody's playing with the new stuff. So speaking of flashbacks to the old Halo days, Bungie also introduced the BXR-55, which is a legendary pulse rifle with unique frame, legacy PR-55 frame, and it is spot on to what the battle rifle has been. You have a hip fire accuracy, and then you can ADS for that 2x scope. That 2x scope is super clean. And
and it's also on a special frame.
Yeah, PR-55 frame.
Yep. And I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. I'll pop back in a minute.
Yeah, so you can classically go the sidearm's a kinetic weapon, and then the BXR-55 is a solar that can go in your energy slot. So you can just run the Halo loadout with the sidearm BR, and then you can even equip a sword. And Chad, man, these swords are pretty cool.
Yeah, swords are definitely cool. But I think I like the BXR, the little nod to the BXR button mash that you had to do to get that off. Once you had to practice that one, it was tough, but once you got it, it felt so good getting that off on people, man. But yeah, having that full Halo loadout, I did go into a couple of banner matches with the with Magnum, Forerunner BXR, and it's weird, man. I feel like I'm playing a different game, and I'm like, I'm like, this map doesn't match the weapons I'm holding in my hands, man. But it's yeah, that BXR feels real good. The scope on it feels real nice. I don't have a really good PvP loadout one yet, but I do have a demo Adrenaline Junkie, and that one, it's a lot of fun. Just as soon as I pull it out, I just throw a grenade, just lob a grenade to some enemies, and I just start killing stuff. And then as soon as I get back, I'm just throwing grenades left and right, and it's a ton of fun.
So the new perk with the BXR, blunt execution rounds. Did you notice the initials would be BXR?
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Yep. And then basically you melee, and then you get an extra damage bullet, which it's a cool nod.
Yeah, it really pumps out the DPS. It pretty much can get you an easy 2-burst kill in PvP if you pull that off. So the two swords, the first one's called a half truth, and the other one is called the other half, and it's literally like half of a Halo sword with something on the other half. And both of them are adaptive frames. Is something I'm not wild about, but you talk about awesome looking swords. These are it, and I'm looking forward to getting some of these wolves to play with. There's a couple new perks they put on them and stuff, and I haven't had a lot of time to get into it and play a lot with them, but we'll get you God Walls and stuff like that as we get to play through a little bit more of the content. And the next weapon they brought in was the Retrace Path. It's the first legendary trace rifle in Destiny 2, and it looks very familiar to the focus rifle from Reach, which I think Halo Reach holds a special place in all of our hearts. And then
that focus rifle is definitely interesting. I've only gotten one to drop, so I haven't had a lot of time to mess around with it. But it definitely highlights the damage isn't as good as it should be for a special weapon, because you can hold that thing on an enemy, and it's like my primaries can lay this orange or yellow bar out much faster than this.
Mm-hmm.
And since this is a legendary, I at least can use an exotic, something else. But without an exotic ability like what Divinity has, or what like the Wave Splitter has a really weird one too, or the other ones, without that exotic extra damage capability, legendary rifles are going to be in for a real tough ride, for sure.
Yeah, that first day of playing though, you had that special trace rifle bounty from the Store Horse, so you was able to do double trace rifles with this, and then the stasis one. Yeah, it escaped my mind. Then the final weapon here is the Wastelander M5 shotgun, and it's Tex Mechanica's first legendary weapon in Destiny 2. And for those who played Marathon, it should look very, very familiar. And then also we have a grenade launcher, Pardon Our Dust, which we got that message in game quite a bit in Destiny 2 as they do maintenance and stuff like that. And it's designed by Pathways into Darkness, from inspiration from that. So 6 free legendary weapons and 1 exotic free to anybody that logs into Destiny 2 and wants to celebrate the 30th event of Bungie's 30-year run here. Overall, I think everybody's really enjoying this event. I've really enjoyed it. I do want to continue to grind these DOEs, to just get all the ornaments unlocked and to just focus on weapon rolls after that. So I think you all
getting all those ornaments is going to be priority numero uno for me. That's just checking boxes off is always my priority there. But definitely getting good weapon rolls for sure on at least the BXR. The swords are going to be weird. It's going to be one of those weird ones. Once we get more of a feel on it, we'll have, obviously, like we said, we're going to have a weapons breakdown for all these things. But I know that I definitely want to look more into the trace rifle and see what kind of combinations of perks I can get to make that more of a fun gun for me to use personally. But that's it's going to take some grinding to get that handled.
Yeah, looking forward. I think we actually might get trace rifle mods in the seasonal artifact now. That the fact there's a legendary one now. We might get some anti-champion mods for trace rifles. All right. So this with Tuesday hit, there's also a few other like changes that happened in the game. Of course, we talked about ability cooldowns, and how those have been changing over the last few weeks. I definitely feel those. I know me and Chad jumped into a few Iron Banner games, and like I think I only got 1 super off on a 4 run with like a Dawn Blade. So yeah. And one of the Iron Banner bounties this week is to get ability kills. I don't think it's happening, guys. Not for me. I don't want to play that much Banner to try to stack that bounty when all this other new stuff's going on. So good luck to everybody that's grinding out Iron Banner this week. And also another,
it's definitely really tough spot right now with abilities changed and the new guns that got added in. It's the one of the other bounties is assists, and after I want to say I played at least 10 to 15. I want to say 15 games. I only had 17% on that bounty done.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm not playing that much Banner. If this wasn't at 50 already, I would have probably stuck with it if it was over 50. But that's too much Banner for me. Like I'll go back to like regular control if I want to just hit a couple of bounties out, but it's until we get used to ability changes and figure out other stuff, it's in a really weird spot.
It's a real shame Banner doesn't have a system like they have for Trials with Saint, because that would be enough to get us all in there grinding out rolls, I think.
Yeah, I just added like 2 or 3 engrams that's focused, like just give us a kinetic slot, energy slot, and a heavy slot, and then an armor one. That's all they have to do. Make it cost 50 tokens, because I think everybody has a couple thousand tokens laying around. Um, Another thing that you could probably see in Iron Banner, Clash, and Control, and some Rumble games is that the respawn timer has gone up by 2 seconds from 5 to 7. Um, I think this kind of came out of left field. I'm not sure what Bungie's want to accomplish with this, but I think it's going to slow down the games a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, and then before we get into the dungeon talk, next week also brings the Dawning on December 14th, and let's all hope and pray that Chad finally gets his Godwell Glacio Chasm, because we know it's going to be coming back. If you want to get into the Destiny API, like Light GG and all them places, they do have some updated weapon perks on the previous Dawning weapons and stuff like that. We're definitely going to get those a quick breakdown next week, because those will probably again only have like a 3-week span to earn those weapons.
Oh man, Glacier Chasm's getting some buffs. So what's the I can't remember off the top of my head. I didn't think we were going to talk about this very much. But what's the perk where it makes the chain reaction on fusions, the new one, the one that got added in?
Reservoir Burst.
Yeah, Reservoir, and then there's Subsistence, right?
Yeah.
You can get a Subsistence Reservoir Burst roll on Glacier Chasm when it comes back next week.
And then you can also get Slide Shot in that same column. So you could do Slide
Yeah,
Shot.
yeah.
Reservoir
But I mean,
Burst.
think about that though. With Subsistence, you'll be
Yeah.
consistently at full mag, which
Mhm.
means every shot, as long as you're killing things, is
Yeah.
gonna be a Reservoir Burst shot.
Yep.
It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna have so much
Mhm.
fun with that.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Gjallarhorn's back in Destiny 2, and it's back with its glory of Wolfpack rounds, and actually killing the must-have galley for LFG posts, because the exotic perks actually gives all other legendary rockets Wolfpack rounds. So you only need one person with Gjallarhorn in order to make everybody have Wolfpack rounds for that extra DPS. That's a
Yep.
what a nod to Bungie and the history of Gjallarhorn and that.
It's definitely gonna be fun. Everybody's gonna be running Heathens with Vorpals and then one Gjallarhorn, and you're just gonna melt some stuff. It's gonna be
Yep.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
So as we stated before, you start that first Doe mission, and then you got to go to speak to old Shah Han to start this Gjallarhorn quest, and then the next step it brings you to the dungeon, Grasp of Avarice, and going back to the Loot Cave. Another call to people just sitting in a Cosmos drone in Destiny 1, just trying to get those engrams to drop, just wanting to get one of those gold engrams. Or I remember in the first days of Destiny 1, it was so rare to get a legendary engram to drop. It was awesome. It was just as hard as an exotic to get sometimes. And then you get it to drop on the wrong class. You want to get it.
Yep.
All right, the dungeon, normal mode only requires 1310 light. We jumped into there Tuesday night, and I had a lot of fun. This dungeon brings along 4 legendary weapons and the Thorn armor set. All right, guys. What's your thoughts on the dungeon, the encounters, the mechanics?
It's very much interesting. It's repurposing banking with moats. And it's using that for immunity shields, but it's doing it in a way where you're not picking stuff up. You're just kind of like you pick it up like a moat, and then you don't have to actually actively bank. You just stand next to something.
Mm-hmm.
Now I like all the pirate nods in it. They're all a lot of fun. The little sparrow area is definitely a lot of fun. It reminds me of all my Scourge times, and always having one guy that has to clutch it at the end and and win it for everybody. But the little traps that are in there, because again it's a pirate like a den essentially. The traps are neat the first couple times, and then Jared just starts getting angry because he's stepping on everything. But I liked figuring it out. The ogre boss is really annoying. But it was definitely a lot of fun to figure all that stuff out and go through every time. Every dungeon is gonna be fun. Um, but this one's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be one of the easier solos for sure. If you haven't done, I think I'm put this on. I mean, I'll have to try it first, but I'm gonna say that it's gonna be easier than the others for sure for doing a solo. So if you want to try that, definitely give that one a shot. But it's the loot is good. The loot is really good in the master. If you get a full team in there and you guys are coordinated. But I'm happy. I'm really happy with it. I'm happy that Gallarhorn's back with it, and I'm always happy to hit up a new dungeon.
Yeah. Before we dive into that master, you know, playing through the first time through blind, you caught on pretty quick of like, oh, it's an engram drop. And like first when it shoots out, it looks like an exotic, but it falls red to the ground as it sits there for a while, and you can only hold, I think it's like 20 or 30 is the hold, and then you have to go bank them, and you're on a timer, a 30-second timer from the last one you picked up, and then you gotta go build the crystal. Yeah, that mechanic isn't hard. It's something that's been around the game a while, as you said. That's like the gambit. Again, it's just like, how many times are we gonna pick up boats to go bank something? But I guess it's cooler than standing in the light and dark is what we had in the last dungeon, to drop the gambit mode to go collecting and then go slam. But although the design going through the Cosmodrome and the Sparrow Race just felt exactly like Scores of the Past, and that's going to be the thing I need most practice on before I go try to do a solo. Is a Sparrow Race.
The Sparrow Race, stick to the middle and to the left whenever you can't go middle. I think that's the easiest route for that. The dungeon, I wish you would have got like a truffle shuffle emote at the end, because it felt a lot like the Goonies. I would have enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Or like like "Hey you guys" or something, something like that would have been pretty cool. But this is gonna sound bad. This is my least favorite of all the dungeons. Personally, I thought it was too easy. I think we should have done the master off the start instead of doing the normal mode, and I think I would have had a lot more fun with it. I just thought the combat was too easy, and in turn, figuring out the mechanics wasn't hard because we didn't really have to worry about dying.
Yeah. So, Fox, I would say that as a seasoned Destiny player, yes, the dungeon on normal mode is going to be very easy for us. I'm looking at the people that Bungie's trying to bring in right now, and maybe people that haven't played Destiny 2 in a long time, or at all. Maybe they haven't got involved since the split off from Halo, and they don't want to do something too hard at what people just paid for content and not be able to complete it. So I think the normal mode is a good step for that, and that's why the master exists, for people like us to go sink our teeth into something that's actually a little bit more difficult. Yeah, and then with that 1360 light requirement, we was all under. I think we was all in the 1350s, but we didn't have swords as our enemies, and as we went through that, we got a little surprise with our armor that dropped, which was an extra armor slot that could only hold the seasonal mods. So, like, if you're looking at gauntlets, right, and a shotgun dexterity for cost of 1, so you could have shotgun dexterity 3 times on your arms. So that's something that's going to be very important moving forward. I would say, the arms in that class item is probably what I want to have the most of, and probably try to have 4 flavors. And then I'm really leaning into the Stasis Kickstart mod, because they nerfed my Hunter Gambler dodge, and I'm really feeling the pain of it right now. So I can do double Kickstart and then particle deconstruction. So
And now, is that only on the master armor that has the slot? Because I went back on my warlock that I used to do normal mode, and the helmet and the arms did not have the extra slot.
No, it's just the master,
Master only, yeah.
and it's not even it's the encounter drop, not the extra like secret chests. That armor will not have the extra slot. So I imagine in the future will be just like straight farm the ogre encounter or something like that, and just get a bunch of armor drops and weapons drops. And IS Luna made its return, and we also got 1,000-Yard Stare, the Matador, and then the sword, which is I lost the name of it. Which is a callback to that game. It's called Hero of Ages. Is a sword.
Yeah.
But it's a spin to win sword, and it's the arc damage type, so it's fun. So, unfortunately, on the master mode, the legendary weapons don't have anything special about them. And most of the time we was thinking like, oh, those will drop at depth, That's what we were thinking, and that's not happening. And I feel like there should have been an extra perk in columns 3 or 4 or something for the legendary weapons, because now when you run master, you're not going to be happy when the weapon drops.
Or at least they could take the adept mods, maybe.
Yeah,
something like that. That would have been nice too.
Yeah, hopefully they do something. But other than that, I really enjoyed this dungeon. Chad, I think I'm right there with you about the. We'll see as we try to go through solo. But that the Sparrow race is probably going to be difficult, and then you can easily mess up here and there, actually step on a trap that I continuously done, and just wanted to, I was over the spike traps after the second one. I was like, this is kind of ridiculous. Yeah. So, going through the master, we done it a couple times now, and the one thing I would just give advice for is that on the Titan, the pressure scars, because you get so many revives of people actually getting caught in the rock spot and dying, it really helps keep everybody alive, and that buff lasts quite a bit of a long time. And if you're running that with bubble and null composure, you're getting that extra healing pulse all the time anyway. So I think I'll be maining that pressure scars every time we go in there and I'm on a Titan. I can't believe it. I thought that exotic was worthless until going through a dungeon like that. All right. Any other comments, words of wisdom? Okay.
I think definitely you've spoiled a lot of it. But it's definitely if you don't go in blind, it's going to be fun to get a team together that doesn't really know it and figures it out how to do it. It's very good since like Ryan said, it is an easier one. It's probably the easiest dungeon. It's very good for giving you guys more confidence for something like a GM, for sure. So if you guys want to work on teamwork, that's a real good one to do because you get lots of rally points where you can put down a flag, get max ammo and supers and stuff. If you pick up 10 of those the engrams and deposit them, you automatically get full super and regen all of your abilities right off the rip right there. So you'll be using supers and stuff for safety, and it's definitely a really good place for some good guns. Next week, I think they said next week they're gonna patch in the fix for the drops, so you'll be able to grind it out. So that'll be a really good time to just grind it out, do it over and over with some friends, run some other people through it. I'll be running it quite a lot with these guys and then some other dudes from other places, and just get more people comfortable with more dungeons, because if I can get them in with this, I can get them in on the other ones, and maybe then get some people together for raids that weren't confident enough in raids. It's a gateway dungeon, leads into everything else, and that's what I'm hopeful for.
Oh yeah. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, you talked about getting people into the Grandmasters and stuff. The Lake of Shadows boss, Grasp, it's getting a health buff. So it's going to be a little bit harder to kill at the end of Lake of Shadows. So it's going to be interesting moving forward how that's going to go. We have to maybe go in there and give ourselves some a damage check or two to see what we're pumping out. So Fox, we did have a gambling corner on this dungeon. If you're able to take us through.
Yeah, so we set the over-under at 3 hours for our blind run. And that was kind of based upon what it took us for Prophecy Dungeon. However, we didn't take into consideration, I don't think, that we would be at level / above level. Whereas with Prophecy, we were roughly like 13 to 15 under leveled for that when it came out. So let's just say we blasted the under. I think our final time was 58:57, 58 minutes, 57 seconds. I have updated everybody's glimmer count. Jared currently has 13,000. Chad has 21,500, and I have 32,000. We did reach out to Mr. Vegas, and I'll let Jared go over it since I can't talk very well. It's in the Discord, Jared. I don't know if you saw it.
So I can't click in the Discord and screw up the stream. So, but I do remember most of it though.
Yeah. So what it was whenever we do our next master run of the dungeon, it is who's going to die first in the master. So the lines is Jared minus 150, Chad minus 110, and Ryan plus 150. Now, keep in mind, as always, when it comes to these, you're not allowed to bet on yourself. So I can't bet myself and then just go step on a pressure plate. So you have to bet, or we didn't put a flawless in. I would say that's very, very, very unlikely for all three of us to go flawless. So I'm not terribly concerned. If we all go flawless, we all get 20,000 glimmer. We'll just say added on top of us.
Okay. This is also on top of all of us being on our mains. That's me, Hunter, Fox, Warlock, and Chad on his Titan. As a low man, I'm usually one that goes first. And I know Chad, he wants to get through this flawless. He's going to be one in the stronghold, tanking everything. The only way he's going to screw up is he's going to screw up on a jump, get bumped by me or Fox on a taking off. So, I'm gonna go Fox. I'm going Fox. I'm gonna put 2,000 down on Fox.
It's gonna be me because Ryan's gonna step on a plate when I'm jumping over it and kill the both of us. But the instant replay is gonna show me getting pierced by the spikes first. But I can't vote for me. You said you put 2,000 on Fox?
Yeah.
Then I'll put 35 on Jared.
And that's very likely. I'm magnetized to those
plates. Pressure plates. Yeah, he'll be jumping over it and just all of a sudden hit the ground and just punk.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm hoping that that's the case. So I'm hoping that Jared, Ryan's gonna try hard.
Jared, your bet, 2,000 wins, 3,000 for a total of 5,000 payout. Chad, you bet what did you bet, Chad?
35 on Jared.
All right, you're doing that math, and
35 on Jared will win 23. We'll call it 23-35, just for the sake of easy math. And I'm gonna bet Chad. And I'll bet 5,000.
Okay.
which will pay out. Uh, we'll call it 45.50, or it'll win. It'll win 45.50.
That's the pay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So, little things in the dungeon will get caught up. You get caught up on the wrong side of a corner, and then the ogre like shreds you with the void beam, and it feels like 0.4 seconds. It's all it takes to go down. Yeah, a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to going through again with Master, and after we've been through it, knowing what champions are where and how to get through parts of it, it's going to be a lot of fun, and probably get through it a little bit faster. I think we completed our Master run an hour and 9 minutes or something like that. So, not a bad.
I thought it was like 48 minutes. I thought we did it 10 minutes faster than our normal blind run.
I took a screenshot. It was an hour and 9 minutes.
Okay. I just had it 10 minutes the other way then. My bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we can definitely get that down under an hour after we know what to do, where all the chests are at, and the workaround. I think, just a little note. I love Sleeper going through this. I think Sleeper's king again, and then paired with Gallahorn, we'll live him back in the Destiny 1 glory days.
Hey, we should tell. Whenever we did the final boss, Jared out DPS'd me. I was using 1K. Jared was using Sleeper. Chad was using Divinity, and I was on a Titan, and I got 2 Thunder Crashes off, and Jared still out DPS'd me. Now I think Jared might have popped into like a bubble for the damage phase that I did not. But still, he still out DPS me. I would think that the 2 Thunder Crushes would have balanced out me not being in the bubble. So it was close, but we'll do more testing.
All
Yeah,
right.
I definitely was very surprised, and I'm very excited about that. That's definitely a good inkling for me for what I could use down the line. But yeah, definitely the divinity helped him out because he didn't have to aim at a little fallen head. He just aimed dead center and bang, and it was much easier for him to just keep on basically making that thing as close to full auto as he could. And I was watching all the shots go off. I was watching the 1K, and I'd see Ryan all of a sudden, bang, and I was surprised that Jared beat him on the DPS on that, but very pleasantly surprised for sure.
Yeah, that divinity really helps to take out those yellow bars too. That yellow bar shank.
Oh
and
yeah,
and that what was that a yellow bar marauder that goes.
yeah, it was a marauder.
Oh my! What about
Definitely, but that shank, oh my gosh, that shank will get you, man.
Yep. Yeah, arc
That's
resist.
horrible.
Arc resist is your best friend. And I was never had a low resilience. I was usually always at a 6 or a 7. Thinking
Yeah,
about
definitely.
GM resilience level.
Definitely running a 7. And for that Sparrow section, I'm for our next run anyway, or for the next run I do anyway, I'm definitely going in there with Risk Runner because it should proc. I've seen things stating that it does, and I'm hopeful that it does because that will be really helpful.
Yeah.
But Jared, we could probably 2-man and get the checkpoint, and just we can do our Sparrow runs separately and practice them out on solos.
Yeah.
Make that one, get that one easy. But definitely give that one a shot. If anybody wants to do it, and I'm around at least next week when the grinding is going to begin, I'll be in there. I mean, besides doing well, yeah, because you can just get cooking material in there. It's not gonna be hard.
We hope
that way I can get my glacier chasms. I mean, all you need to do is go in there and kill stuff.
True.
You don't even need to equip a specific thing. It's not like you need a mask or anything, and you don't need to do the master for it. If you do the normal, you'll be fine, and you'll just get a bunch of hive and fallen material.
Yep,
you'll be fine.
All right, Chad. Books of Sorrow. Is this the last one?
Bro, I did the maths.
Yeah.
And it's 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. There's so many Books of Sorrow.
Oh man.
I'm looking at this point, this being the third to last.
Okay. Awesome.
So it's a long book, man. It's a lot of stuff in it. and we're getting into some good stuff. Um, but yeah, again, we're kicking it back off. We're going part 5. We left off where Oryx actually killed Akka, took everything from him as the sword logic demands that you take what you need. Renamed himself Oryx from Auryx. It's simply a spelling change. It went from AU to Oryx, um, and became Oryx the Taken King. He got the ability to take. He created the Tablets of Ruin, where anyone that's done the Oryx raid knows them very, very well. We've seen a couple of them. There's one of them in one of the chambers. You actually see it lighten up. Um, and so now we know him as Oryx. So we're going into verse 4:2. Majestic, majestic. Oryx, my king, my friend. Kick back, relax, shrug off that armor, set down that blade, roll your burdened shoulders and let down your guard. This is a place of life, place of peace. Out in the world, we ask a simple, true question. A question like, can I kill you? Can I rip your world apart? Tell me the truth, for if I don't ask, someone will ask it of me. And they call us evil. Evil. Evil means socially maladaptive. We are adaptiveness itself. Ah, Oryx, how do we explain it to them? The world is not built on the laws they love, not on friendship, but on mutual interest, not on peace, but on victory by any means. The universe is run by extinction, by extermination, by gamma ray bursts, burning up 1,000 garden worlds, by howling singularities eating up infant suns. And if life is to live, if anything is to survive through the end of all things, it will not be by the smile, but by the sword. Not in a soft place, but in a hard hell. Not in the rotting bog of artificial paradise, but in the cold, hard, self-verifying truth of that one ultimate arbiter, the only judge, the power that its own metric and its own source, existence, at any cost. Strip away the lies and truces, the delaying tactics that call civilization. And this is what remains, this beautiful shape. The fate of everything is made like this, in the collision, the test of one praxis against another. This is how the world changes. One way we meet the second way, and they discharge their weapons. They exchange their words in markets. They contest, and in doing so, they petition each other for the right to go on being something instead of nothing. This is the universe figuring out what it should be in the end. And it is majestic. Majestic. It is the only thing that can be true in and of itself. And it is what I am. I'm walking down the road, going down to the Ori to talk to my dad, and I hear this noise, so I look back, and my sisters are behind me, and they're ripping up the road. They've got these huge swords, execution swords, and they're levering the stones out of the road. The stones are covered in writing. They're like tablets, and there's dirt underneath them, full of worms. I need to get to the Ori before they catch up to me, so I start running. But right away, someone trips me. It's my dad. He's got his foot out and he grabs me by the horns and just slams me down on my face. I'm in so much pain I nearly throw up a worm. Why weren't you ready for this? Dad says. He's wearing glare goggles, those shiny goggles that he'd use to save his vision during lightning storms or sea fire. All 3 of his eyes reflect me. Don't you know they'd be jealous because you could come back to the Ori and talk to me? Didn't you know they'd move against you? I start wailing like I'm 2 days old again, and I say, Dad, I thought you were my friend. I'm supposed to be safe here. But he just puts out his fist, and I realize he's laughing at me for believing him. Why did I think I'd be safe? In his fist, he's got a black sun, and he holds me by the throat and goes to tip the black sun inside of me. I can see my jaws in his goggles, 3 reflections of my jaws with so many teeth. So I start eating my dad. I bite huge pieces out of him and I claw him up. I eat his legs, I eat his arms, and I eat his goggles and his eyes. And he says, good, good, this is majestic and true. But my sisters are still tearing up the road, so I don't know how to go back. Sometimes I wonder if I'm a nihilist. I don't do much except break things. That's what they say about me. We could have had a great civilization if it weren't for that damn Oryx, the damn hive. They don't believe in anything but death. The only way to make something good is to make something that can't be broken. And the only way to do that is to try to break everything. I'm glad I learned that the universe runs on death. It is more beautiful to know. But I am lost somewhere strange. I think that Savathun and Xivu Arath are trying to steal the tablets from me. They must have cut off my tribute while I was away communing with the deep. I love them so dearly. No one else is clever or strong enough to try to break me. No one else can give me this gift. Once long ago I killed Xivu Arath on her war moon, and she blew up the whole moon to kill me with her. She was laughing in joy, and I laughed too. A whole moon! A whole moon! It was a waste of a moon, but it taught me how to save myself from exploding worlds, which was necessary to fight the Ecumene. I love mighty Xivu more than the moon loves the tides. I'll kill her for this, over and over, forever and ever. When I get home from my wanderings in the deep and I take back my throne, I'm going to have children. That's what I need. Sons and daughters to love and kill. Xivu upon Oryx, uttered by Xivu Arath, sibling of Oryx. Betrayal. We have marooned Oryx within the deep. This is our obligation as lords of the hive to make war upon each other, to eradicate weakness, and make ourselves sharp. Obligations. Once I permitted Oryx to kill me, so that he could gain the sword logic and overcome Akka, our god. This left me trapped deep in my throne, but Oryx my brother made war upon the Ecumene, and in that war he described me, for I too am war. Thus I was resurrected. Resurrection. Savathun and I conspired to strand Oryx on his expedition, but I secretly believe that I will be stronger with Oryx to wage war against. Thus I describe him. A description of Oryx. When Oryx looks upon you, you feel that you may vanish if he looks away. The crest of Oryx's skull is as long as an arm. In the course of its life, a thought moves from one end to the other. Upon his crest I have painted a line in my blood so that he will remember me. Each of Oryx's fangs has the precision of a finger and the acuity of an eye. Although he was born at the bottom of the universe and taught to burrow, Oryx has grown wings. The light of wildfire shines through them. Oryx teaches, but he will not be taught. Oryx's body is corded with strength. His sinews and his muscles are as strong as his children, and his children are the strength of him. Oryx wears a raiment of worm silk made from the call of gods. The voice of Oryx may cause two different numbers to become equal. Oryx, my brother, is the bravest thing I know. Upon fundament, he learned that we were the natural prey of the universe, the most frail and desperate of things. He thought about this carefully, and he found a way to fix it. He made us strong. He will lead us into eternity. Oryx, my brother, loves me, and this love is war. You are Crota, my son. Welcome. I fought my way out of hell to make you. I fought my traitor siblings, and I fought the swarming corpse of Akka, and I cut my way back into my own court, the high war which had been usurped. Once I had made war on Savathun and crippled her tribute so that she could challenge me, and once I had tricked Xivu Arath and poisoned her tribute so that she could never again try to take my tablets. Once I had arranged my own lineages so that I would be greatest amongst the hive and secure on my throne. Then I found a mother to make spawn. One of those spawn was you. Your life will be battle too. You will have to win your place at the high war. I will give you nothing except this, your first sword, and this name I have prepared for you. We fight a war against false hope, Crota. We chase a god called the Traveler, a huckster god who baits the young life into building houses for it. These houses are unsafe, for they cannot stand against my hive, and those houses are a trap, for they lead young away from the blade and the tooth, which are tools of survival and the means of ascension. Only when the Traveler is extinguished will the universe be free to arrange itself and assume by ruthless contest its final, perfect shape. A shape which depends on nothing but itself. Thus I name you Crota, Eater of hope. There is an oath upon me, Crota my son, an oath against the wretched Tauks. This I do not give to you. It is for me, your father, to bear. Let's go meet your aunts and uncles. Look at you. You are already grown, my daughter. Already you are a wizard. Have I been away so long? Now you are Ir Anuk, and Savathun cackles and rages at your brilliance. You have written 11 axioms describing the ascendant places our throne world. You have announced that you will kill one of these axioms as Akka would kill the truth. And in mantling Akka, you will become a god, as I am. If you try it, I may kill you, or I may applaud. Well done. I brought you this bitter acid for your celebrations. And you, Ir Halak, you are a wizard too, as is the Wave Twins. I have been with Zivu, a Roth, who complains that you have made a song and sung it in her throne world, and killed everyone who listened quite irrevocably. Will we have songs instead of swords and boomers? What have you made for me? It is a tooth shaped like death. I will keep it in my mouth. What have you written for me? It is the course of the Nika thought ship. I will track it down. I made you cutting one larva in half, it would not die. Each half grew into one of you. My sword is named Willbreaker, but it never broke you. One day, Oryx decided to grow new wings. While he wrestled with his worm, he came upon his twin daughters dying in a wound between places. What are you doing, my daughters? He asked. He was afraid that Ir Halak and Ir Anuk were trying to go into the deep where only the tablets of ruin allowed Oryx to go. We are dying, father, they said, as many times as we can manage. That's adorably precious, Oryx shook out his new wings. But why? We propose a method by which ascendant souls can be detached and integrated into a tautological and autonomous thanotosphere, which we tentatively term an oversoul. Oversouls can be stored in a throne world where as a mechanism of enhanced death resilience. As a side effect, new refinements to our death song may be achieved, moving us closer to a generally effective paracausal death impulse. Oryx brandished his sword. Speak the royal tongue, or I'll pin you up for air to eat. If we separate our deaths from ourselves and hide them, we will be hard to kill. Oryx went to his son Crota. Go keep an eye on your sisters, he said. You can learn cunning from them. But while Oryx traveled to observe the deep to destroy an ancient fortress world, Crota conspired with his sister to learn their secrets. I too will experiment with a wound, he said. With his sword, Crota cut open a new wound into a new space. In here he thought he might obtain a secret power. Out of this wound came machines called Vex. They invaded Oryx's throne world. And that's where I'm going to leave it there for today. But it is cool because there you're learning that Crota is learning how to use an Oversoul, which is what he uses as a white mechanic in the raid, in the Crota raid. So it's a way for him to separate his death from himself, but also use it as a way to wipe out others in a how is it stated? And oh my gosh, a paracausal death impulse. So he could use it to just kill things paracausally. So just oops, everything here is dead. That isn't me. But yeah, we're gonna as soon as it comes back around, we're gonna get into the war with the Vex in Oryx's throne world. I think I've talked a little bit about it before when we were getting into the last season's antagonist. Was it the Vex Mind, right? I'm trying to remember the name. Kuria.
Mm-hmm.
So Kuria is going to come into play here, and definitely excited. We get to meet the siblings, all of the youngins of Oryx's brood, and it is interesting because I didn't remember at the time, but that the two daughters were actually one larva that he cut in half, and they grew into the two beings.
Huh.
And he used a sword that is actually made to break souls, but they were fine.
Wow.
And twins.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think it's time for the new segment, the history of Bungie. Unfortunately, my voice sucks, and I'm sorry, but I have put quite a bit of effort into this. I thought it was going to be a 3-part series. Realistically, it's probably going to be like a 5 or 6-part series once I kind of got into it. Obviously, I've used Wikipedia. There was also Bungie did a documentary at their 20-year anniversary that was called Brave New World. Um, I've also got a lot of information from that, and I have listened to some podcasts with some of the people from talking about the early days of the company, and also read some interviews. So it's kind of scattered, but I've tried to put it in a pretty manageable timeline. Part one today, we are going to go from the founding of the company up until Marathon and Myth. So, uh, the company was founded in May of 1991 by a guy named Alex Seropian. Probably not pronouncing that right, but I never heard that name pronounced anywhere. I just saw it written. Uh, this guy, he currently resides in Chicago. He is not like currently at Bungie from what I can tell. I'm sure he probably has some sort of share or board seat or something in the company because I wasn't able to see like where he split. I just know that he moved back to Chicago at some point. This gentleman's first game was a clone of the game Pong, and it was called GNOP, GNOP, which is Pong backwards. He released the game as freeware, but he sold the source code for $15. And this game actually came out before Bungie was like founded and incorporated, but they still call this like the first game from the company. This game was bundled in with other early Bungie games later on in the company in a bundle called the Mac Action Sack. So Action Sack probably sounds familiar if you are a Halo player. That would be one of the hoppers that they use there. The second game that was made was called Desert Storm. He used the profit that he got from GNOP in order to create Bungie, and then Bungie actually published this title. This game, obviously, like Desert Storm, which happened, excuse me, in the 90s, United States, war, Middle East, 20-level tank shooter. The last level, you were in Baghdad, and you were fighting a giant Saddam Hussein head. That was the final boss. So he went to the University of Chicago. They did not have like a computer science course. So he actually was kind of going to college to appease his father. While there, he had a mathematics class with a guy by the name of Jason Jones. If you're familiar with Bungie, that name's familiar. Jason is still there. He's like obviously the highest person that's at the company to my knowledge currently. Jones mentions in that the documentary I watched that Alex thought that he quote thought that I was a dick due to me having a better computer than he did. So he goes on and talks about how he was more concerned about making games and Alex was more concerned about making a company. So Jason was working on a game that was called Minotaur, The Labyrinth of Crate. Bungie published this game. Now, this game was designed on Macs. Jason Jones grew up using a Mac, and so most of their early games came there. This game was a first-person game, and I think I read it sold something like 2,500 copies. And the game you had to have a modem and something called Apple Talk, which I'm not very familiar with. But essentially, it was an online game, in like the early 90s, and modems weren't like a common thing back then. So obviously, the game was a cult hit, and you know it was successful enough to where they could make their next game. The tagline on Minotaur was "Kill your enemies, kill your friends' enemies, kill your friends." So this was actually something that I remembered reading in Halo 3. Like while you're like loading into a match, it would show up like in the bottom left of the screen. Excuse me, the bottom left of the screen, which was pretty cool that they kind of carry stuff over that way. Now, from here, they were going to work on a sequel to this game. However, they ended up rebranding it into a game called Pathways into Darkness, which Jared brought up earlier. I believe he said that the Pardon Our Dust grenade launcher was kind of a throwback to that game. Correct, Jared?
Yes. Yeah, Pardon Our Dust is, yes.
Yep. So this game was actually inspired by Wolfenstein 3D. Wolfenstein and Doom were the big dogs back then. They were PC games, and this was like the Mac equivalent of that. So the storyline to this game, which I thought, excuse me, I'm sorry. The storyline to this game I thought was pretty cool. There is an alien comes to Earth, talks to, I don't know if it's the president or whoever, but basically underneath the Yucatan Peninsula, there's an ancient god that's going to wake in 5 days. So a group of 8 U.S. Special Forces are sent down with a nuke, and they have 5 days to basically solve the puzzles of this pyramid to destroy the god, or the god's going to destroy the Earth. There were actually multiple endings to this. So one ending is you don't make it and Earth gets destroyed. One is you make it, but you don't have enough time for you to escape or get far enough away from the explosion, so you die and the monster dies. And the other is you destroy the monster and you have like a radio beacon that you can use in order to get and be free afterwards. Interesting part of this, the ending where everybody dies, where you die as well as the monster, is called the Pyrrhic ending, which is also an warlock armor set from the Trials of Osiris right now. So they kind of use that as like a throwback there.
Oh, that sounds a lot like
Now,
what Trials is. Everybody dies.
Yeah, just death. Everybody dies. So this game was a critical and smart commercial success. So these games, like up until this point, they are literally like folding the cardboard themselves and shrink wrapping everything themselves and sending them out. You know, they're not sending it off and doing it. Everything is like a 2-man operation. So with this, they moved from a 1-bedroom apartment to an actual studio on the south side of Chicago. Which, all the Destiny rumors is that you have old Chicago as like a playable space. So I'm sure that that's kind of like a throwback to that area. Marty O'Donnell was like, I want to say the 4th or 5th employee, from if I recall correctly. He said that the studio's location, quote, it was a former girls' school next to a crack house that smelled like a frat house after a really long weekend. And it reminded staff of the locale from the Silent Hill horror video games. So I don't think it was the best of situations. They talk about how it was basically pizza and Coca-Cola was kind of what kept everybody going in those early days. Next week, I'm going to get into Marathon and Myth, which that's next in the in the Bungie history. So hopefully my voice will be back. I can get a little more in depth with everything then. So I'll kick it over to Jared.
Thanks for the history of Bungie. And we got the lore segment, and we got the history of Bungie. We're just making sure everybody's well informed about the game they play and the people who made it. So, maybe you take some of this knowledge and show it off to your fire team, or maybe you can enter it to the text chat and show it off to the console noobs when you're playing with them. So, it's going to lead us into the mailbag. And first question here, right on the nose is a 30th anniversary pack worth the $25? And I think that's an easy yes for me. But I look at it as like I'm going to play the content no matter what because they're putting it out. But after I start looking through the armor sets that you get, man, I feel like the $25 is worth alone in how much armor you get.
Yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. The main reason being, we are a 3-man team here. We do scrounge up other 3 guys for raid days and stuff like that. But we gotta have our solo time. Where we're sitting here doing our own thing, jamming to music, listen to your favorite podcast, Conqueror's Corner. But dungeons are great for that for me. When I'm very much a guy that wants to bang my head against a wall, and that's my favorite way to do it, is to try to solo flawless dungeons, is build the best loadouts I can, practice survivability to the best I can. And I'm not exactly masochistic enough to try to do solo GMs. But a solo dungeon is fine because you can die and you don't get sent to orbit. But it's something that's really hard, but you feel so good. The only thing in this game that ever feels better than getting a solo flawless done is getting a day 1 raid done, which we've only been able to do once. But that's the only time I've ever felt like, bro, this is amazing. The one right below that is when we blind the raids as a group, where we figure out the puzzles ourselves and get that done. That feels great also. But yeah, it's for me, because a new dungeon, no matter how easy it is, yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of hours of content in there, and I will happily pay $25 for that for me.
Yeah, if anybody's complaining, they just need to quit being cheap. I mean that's really all there is to it. You get, I don't know, Jared, you were doing the math. How many dollars of silver were the ornaments and all that stuff worth?
So you gotta put a little bit of time in, but you're looking at $30 per character, so that's $90 worth of armor ornaments, and then you get a ship, a ghost, and then you get a sparrow. Yeah, and you get 2 exotic ornaments. Yeah,
a dungeon.
Titles. You look at cosmetics alone, you're over $100 in silver.
Yeah, yeah, and let's just say it. If you don't see the value in this, then you're playing the wrong type of game. You shouldn't be playing a live service game if you're not willing to spend $25 or $30 every 3 to 4 months or so. You spend, I don't know, like this whole year. If you bought the deluxe edition, it was probably like $70. So for $100 for a year, so $8 a month or something like that. If you can't pay that, then you better not play like a real like live service game where you have to pay a monthly subscription. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I just don't value money like some people do, or what it is. But to me, it's just being cheap. If you're complaining about this.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great value, and it's a great time to get into Destiny. And it's just like, I say, you get in and you love the 6-man activity. You love Vault of Glass. You love Prophecy Dungeon. All that stuff's free. You're like, you know what? I'm going to stick around for a year, and you get you buy the deluxe version with this anniversary pack, it's $100 for a year of amazing content, and this just shows you this event of what Bungie's capable of putting into the Witch Queen. So I think your investment is going to be worth it in this game. All right, question 2. Rank the dungeons as first-time experiences. Chad, you're the one that's like solo flawless all of them, right? Well, I mean, you want to attempt to this new one, but
Yeah, I haven't done the new one yet. It's a little soon for me. But I think we, as a 3-man, we blind did Prophecy day 1, Grasp of Avarice day 1. Did we do Pit as a group of 3?
nah.
I'm trying to remember because Pit came out Shadowkeep.
I thought we did. I
Right.
feel like Chad and I were. But
It might have
maybe
been us
Zen was
too.
with us, like me, you, and Zen maybe, or me, you,
Yeah, it
and
might have been
Shifty.
us. Yeah,
'Cause
because I remember.
Jared started coming hot like right around that time, coming in
Yeah.
hot.
And then I remember going into, because the first dungeon, Shattered Throne
Mm-hmm.
was crazy because it came in hot after Dreaming City opened up,
It was
clearing
the
some
third week of the
first
curse.
team. Yeah, exactly. The first team cleared the raid, and all of a sudden, Taken stuff started happening in the Dreaming City. Then the week 3 of the curse happened, and then people, I was at work, but all of a sudden there's videos out. It's like, hey guys, there's a portal. He's here, and it's leading into something called a dungeon. And we had already had like the 20-minute runs for Whisper and for Outbreak, um, or for Whisper at least from IO. And so we're like, oh, okay, cool. It's that. And but someone's like, this isn't timed. It's longer than that. And so I'm like, all right, I'm not looking anything up. I'm gonna go in with somebody and figure this stuff out. And I can't remember what squad I ran with. I probably ran with Skoptic at the time. Um, but man, was that an experience. Because it was the first one. It's hard to say that that was better than the others, but that's just because it was the first dungeon that we ever had. Pit has a place in my heart. Real deep down there in the deep. So I'm gonna have to say Shattered's first, Prophecy second, because that was the first time the 3 of us went in blind, as a squad. And then Pit and Grasp. Grasp being last mainly because it was a little easier than the rest of them. And we just smashed it. And it didn't introduce any mechanics that we didn't already know. So it was a little bit easier for me. So figuring out the puzzles wasn't as hard. And that's the part that makes me really excited. Like the Shadow Throne puzzles were really like out there. The mechanics were new. Um, the pit a little bit new, kind of like you got to use a sword doing different things, and they haven't reused that mechanic anywhere. But yeah, that's my order: Shattered, Prophecy, Pit, and then Grasp.
Yeah, I actually agree 100% with Chad, which very rarely happens. So, listen, Shadow Throne, we knew that. So in the the sizzle reel that came out with let's see, that would have been the Forsaken DLC. We saw pictures of those big knights from the Chad, what's the name of the final boss in the Shattered Throne?
Oh gosh, man, it's been a long time.
Dahlin Karu. Dahlin Karu.
Yeah, Duel and Karu, yeah,
Yeah.
up on the
So
tower.
we had seen Dahlin Karu like in the sizzle reel with the big knights, but that wasn't in. We all assumed it would be a raid encounter, but it
Mhm.
wasn't in the raid. So we knew there was something that we hadn't seen, but we had no idea a dungeon was coming. And that last wish raid was just, I mean, it was top notch. It was what, like 17 hours, I think, for Glad and those dudes to get the first
2402 for my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And that, but it was that was just a very exciting time. I remember, I don't remember who I played through that campaign with, but I remember, of course, when it came out, we hit it hard, and then we beat the campaign, and then we had this other item and kept playing, and then we unlocked the Dreaming City, which we had no idea was coming because all we knew was Tangled Shore, and then you have this whole other planet, the Dreaming City, and it was just it it really felt, this is going to sound so corny, but it really felt magical. Like you had no idea what to expect in the next cave you entered or anything. So that was an exciting time. And with all that, I think that's it's going to be really, really, really difficult to beat Shattered Throne for me.
so I think you guys are a little tough on this last dungeon, because they also launched the master at the very same time as the normal. So I'm bumping it up for that. So it's going to be number 2 for me because they launched it with the master. Shadow Throne is 1 because all the reasons you all mentioned. I would say Prophecy 3, and then the old Hive one would be last for me because the sword mechanic was cool, but the replayability of it I don't enjoy as much as the others. All right, question 3: what streamer / content creator that doesn't play D2 would you like to have them switch over to make Destiny 2 content or streaming it?
Yeah. It's got to be the Doctor Disrespect. He is electric. Him and bring the Champions Club over.
Yeah.
We're not even close to his level. We don't deserve Doctor Disrespect. He is just a god among us mere mortals. So he is far and away my choice.
Well, if you're bringing Doc over, I gotta bring Tim the Tatman over to play with him. Just let them start running through stuff together, yelling at each other and the stuff that they do. That would just that'd be gold right there.
And I don't really watch streamers that aren't D2 streamers, so I don't have anyone that I could list off that isn't someone I'd be simping for, if that's a word I can say on here. We can bleep it out if it's not. So I was like, the only like real name that I know that I'd like to watch would be Dr. Disrespect. Because he is who he is. So I again I'm gonna have to agree with Ryan.
Yeah, he's probably
Plot twist.
He's close. He's probably your neighbor out there, Chad.
Oh, maybe. I'll see him at the Food for Less.
I think he's like a Phoenix boy, right? Isn't he Arizona?
I thought he was a Cali boy.
I don't know. I see him at a lot of Suns games.
I don't know. I see a lot of people from Phoenix out here, so.
Yeah.
All right, question 4. Should Bungie make a Forerunner BXR sword only playlist? Oh man, that sounds fun. And I think we probably just need to do it in custom lobbies. But
yeah,
I don't know.
That needs to be like, yeah.
I don't know why they haven't ever tried to do set weapon playlist in the Crucible. Like ever had a Shoddy Snipes one or just like anything like that.
I wonder how the programming would be for that. Because with Halo, it's easy because they could pick the weapons that were on the map, and they could preset what weapons you had when you spawned in. So that, like for Halo, that's not a big issue. But for this one, since the player controls their loadout, I wonder how they would do that. Would it be like you would click it and then it just wouldn't let you click on it until you equip the correct weapons? Like, because it's like this player doesn't have access to this content.
Do you remember Destiny 2 Year 1? That was the raids. They had set loadouts for the raids.
Yeah, for the press.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Version.
For the prestiges, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the game. They know how to do it. I don't know why that can't be an option.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right. They do that. Hmm. And
Yeah.
it's not even reliant on um like which slot it's in, right?
Mhm.
That one, it was just you're using an SMG, a sniper, and a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Just that's it. You
Yeah.
you use whatever. Just you can have a Huckleberry and a sniper, or you can have a sniper and a recluse. That's all that. All that mattered was that those were the three guns equipped. So we know that it doesn't matter based on slots. It
Yeah.
just matters based on weapons. Ooh, they could totally do it.
I mean, that sounds great. You know, if it has a lot of success, you know, like have a trials weekend where it's what does that, you know, and then like increase the rewards that only drop, like just say it's a shoddy sniper, so only ISO and the trial shotgun
Astro
drop.
Horizon.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
they'll drop it
that'd
that
be
weekend.
pretty sweet. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I know that we're gonna have a big clan event happening soon. I'm still trying to see if I can clear any time for it. But if if I get in there, I'll definitely make that a thing we do.
Yeah.
The Halo Fest, because
Yeah.
there's gonna be plenty of players to easily do 6v6 with that loadout. Everybody's gonna have it by then. So I'll if I get in there, I'll make that a thing, and we'll share and let people watch.
Dude, could you imagine if you had 4v4v4 on Javelin 4? Like that sounds
Oh,
so fun in Destiny. If he was able to do that.
you could do that. You can do multi teams, I think. Oh no, it only
Yeah,
lets you do two.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it
sure.
only lets you do two. Yeah, after the Crimson Day stuff was over, they took that functionality out.
Mm-hmm.
What if Bungie made a game mode to where you had to like capture a flag and play an objective?
Whoa, you getting
Wouldn't
back
that
to
be?
that's
Wouldn't that
as D2 year one. We can never go back to that.
we can't?
Oh
You don't
man.
think we could like have to carry a flag across a map?
Yeah, I think that sounds
Wild.
wonderful. I would totally give that a try.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if they could do it, maybe not a flag, but like a ball that you got to carry to an area.
Hold the ball to earn points.
Oh man, that would be amazing. Okay, next question. Did you watch the Game Awards Destiny trailer? Um, I was the last person to watch it of this squad because I was doing something else and I totally forgot about it. And then Jared was like, "Wow,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh no, I forgot all about that." And then thankfully Ryan posted a link, and I was like, "Where do I go for this?" I'm on the YouTube page for it, but it's nice that they got back to a live action trailer. I'm excited about that. It shows that they're putting money on production value for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they showed some of the first mission, which was the voice says Mars. So whether that's just Phobos or that's actually Mars, in the distance you see a point where the traveler touched down, like we saw on Io. So it looks like it's actually Mars, and the touchdown point of the traveler is there. So Savathun's doing a thing, just like the pyramid ships were doing on Io, on that traveler point. Um, so I'm excited. I was definitely really hyped. There was lots of red. There was some enemy killing, and there was some forerunner killing as well.
Yeah.
And they got into some good stuff with the hive, and I'm excited. I'm as excited as I was before, but happy that we get to see more stuff.
Yeah. So the like the leak that happened, the Pastebin leak, like several months ago, said that the first mission of the expansion would take place on Mars, and like so we're not getting Mars back, assuming the leak is true, which it's been true on like 95% of stuff so far. So it's pretty cool to see that happen. Um, the leak is almost everything's like happened or didn't happen from the leak, so it's about like ran its course. So yeah, it's interesting to see what came true, what didn't come true. I thought there would be a little bit more from the trailer, to be honest. I thought we would see more than we did, but it's kind of cool that they kept it more narrative as opposed to like gameplay, because we didn't see like, oh, new supers and this and that, which to be fair, I've only watched it like 3 times. But it's basically the gist of it is that there's a knight and it has the power of the light. You see it throw down like a Titan barricade, and they kill it, and it has like a res orb, and then it comes back, and they kill it, and it comes back, and then they kill it, and then they smash the ghost, which does not look like our ghost. It looks ironically like the ghost that comes with the collector's edition. So they smash that, and then it doesn't come back. And then I think they go into a big hive portal, and that's where it ends, right?
Yeah, if you
so it's cool. It looks pretty rad.
if you slow down a few of those frames, you do see a little bit of gameplay of some stuff we haven't seen before. So one of them is the Void Warlock melee projectile. You see that. You see the Titan Void projectile, and you see the exotic SMG, and what it does. So some cool stuff. If you want to go in there and break that down, go frame by frame. It's you probably find a little stuff in there to just get you hyped even more for the Witch Queen.
Yeah, there's a couple of Reddit posts already with stills from the weird images in between the actual gameplay videos, and there's some really good stuff to look out for in that. But it'll definitely be a lot of fun. I'm happy to go back to Mars for at least a mission. It'll be fun. I am expecting it to be very much like when The Taken King came out, and you basically just hit Phobos, and then you move on and do other stuff. But it's going to be fun to smash that knight in the face over and over again, and then when we're ready to move on, we can move on. You're like, you know what? I'll let him res one more time. Let me kill him this time.
You're stacking up those the points on your weapons so you can craft them.
Right. So I think that's all the mailbag. Kind of a short episode for us this week, probably because I wasn't able to talk. So I will let these other guys sign off here real fast. Just make sure you follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Subscribe and turn on notifications on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, etc.
Yeah, so Dawning's coming next week, and we have all these other new weapons to grind for. So with the holidays coming around, everybody gets busy doing all kinds of stuff outside of gaming. So if you do have time to play, probably want to focus on the Dawning, because this other event stuff is going to be around for the Witch Queen and after that. So don't rush. I know you're going to get it onto YouTube videos. We'll be talking about weapons and stuff like that. You're going to have time to grind these out before Witch Queen comes. So if you need to take time off, be with family, or do whatever you do this time of year, take the time. Recharge those batteries and get ready for 2022, which is hard to say is around the corner.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of Dawning while it's here. The Dares of Eternity and all that stuff will stick around. But definitely, if you do buy the pack, get in that dungeon and collect all of the little messages that Wilhelm left throughout it, because those audio logs are absolutely hilarious. And it's fun to watch a guy turn into madness over avarice. Yeah, get in there, do that. You'll unlock a cool ornament for your Yaller horn, and just listen up, because it's important what he says, and it's just a fun little thing they put in there.
Go Cats. Love you guys.